You want to apply for a research degree and you're trying to determine where to start. One of the key requirements of your application is that you provide a research proposal, which provides some sort of indication of your particular research interest and also demonstrates your ability. In this video, I cover some of the guidelines you can consider in an application research proposal. So let's talk about the application research proposal. Now, this particular proposal is mainly relating to applying for a research degree. When you start your research degree, typically a PhD, then you would actually develop a more detailed research proposal. And this can take even like up 4 to 9 months to actually develop because you're really trying to understand your field and frame the proposal for your field. So this video mainly focuses on the application research proposal, that proposal you submit when you apply for a research degree. Now, it may vary country by country, but if I look at the South African case, you can have masters by full research and PhD as well. But if you're looking at the UK context, where you probably might have a half thesis, it may not really apply to you as much, but it probably will mainly apply to a PhD research degree that you're applying for. So just keep that in mind depending on where you're planning to do your research degree. So I want to talk about a couple of important guidelines or tips when you are doing the application research proposal. Firstly, identify a proposal template. You'll find that some universities may have a particular template that they wish their applicants should to follow, so you make sure that you adhere to that particular template. However, there are general guidelines that need to be incorporated when doing your application research proposal. And if you're not sure how to go about it, I will share a template via Instagram when I develop it, and you're welcome to use that template. The reason I also find this very important, when you're following a particular template, is to avoid overwhelming the person who has to review your application or even the potential supervisor. You want to just be to the point and as succinct as possible, but you also want to demonstrate that you've done your background homework when you are applying for this specific degree. Next, you want to determine your theme or topic. I covered this in a previous video where there are those questions around why, who, what, where, when, designing in a research context, working with experts, understanding what's important and current in the field. So make sure you determine your topic. So build on that video to try and frame what your potential topic will be. Your topic is most likely to change as you do your degree, as you go through the next couple of months, learning about the field, understanding the reality when you work with a particular context. So it may not be set in stone. Just keep that in mind, but you have to have something to build on and start with. So trying to frame a topic is really important in taking you a long way. Once you've decided on that topic, start doing a bit of research on it. Start summarizing some of your findings. So read, collate. Don't just read articles and then just pass through it. Highlight those articles, highlight those key concepts, develop and build summaries in your own words around the key discussions around that topic you've chosen for your field. You'll come to a point where once you've done a bit of reading, you get to focus a bit more on what it is that you want to do. A lot of students that apply for a research degree take this particular stage for granted, and it really is not clear how they're going to actually make a contribution or what they really want to study, which makes it difficult for the coordinator to approach a supervisor or for a supervisor to really understand what the student is really interested in conducting research on, and what potential exists for this particular student. Have they shown that they're able to work independently to an extent? Because a research degree at some point can be quite an independent process. So read, collate, discuss, and develop your research background. Okay, so I just say approximately 20 articles to get you started. Some supervisors may ask you for more articles, but I would say 20 articles kind of get you started on understanding the background around the topic and sort of start to frame what it is you are interested in, building on a topic or theme you've identified for your research. Next, you also need to think of theory. This is something that's often taken for granted and tends to be forgotten about when applying for degrees. It is understandable that some students would have just finished their undergraduate degree and then can apply directly for PhD, which is quite typical in the UK case if you obviously score a particular value, well, score a particular score for your results, you can actually apply directly. But in some cases, some students apply after their masters. So it is a question whether they have covered some of these theories in their degree. And in most cases, they would have covered some of the theories, perhaps in an undergraduate degree, which can kind of get them to understand what is theory and how is it important in explaining or framing what's going on in a context or in a particular field. So if you want to really stand out and look good, you need to show that you do have an understanding of theory and its relevance in research. So you may want to just talk about one or two theories that really stand out in helping you start your journey of discovery in your chosen research topic. Next, what is my research aim? You should always try to even just propose a particular research aim. It's a proposal. So, as a coordinator, as a supervisor, I always say, I don't expect the students to have a very clear aim in the beginning because it is a journey to actually frame that aim or research questions. However, try to attempt to indicate what is the aim of your study, what is the question that remains unanswered. What does it mean to develop a research question? I plan to cover that in a different video, but I'll also signpost you to other useful videos or resources on how to develop a research question, because there's a lot out there on YouTube. But I want you to really value this particular aspect in your research proposal when you're applying, to give the supervisor an idea of how you have understood the topic, the current discussion around the topic, perhaps the theory, and then develop some sort of aim or research question or questions for your study. So once you have that aim, then maybe you want to explore potential ways of collecting data to understand that particular context or aspect or topic you're studying. And perhaps students may not have much experience doing data collection and research methodology, but there are a lot of resources out there that you can tap into understanding what is research methodology, what is research design, what are those key elements to consider when you're doing data collection or applying research methodology to your chosen topic. So you as I said, it's a proposal is a proposal, especially an application is a proposal. So one wouldn't expect you to know so much detail on research methodology, but you need to show that you have a bit of an understanding. So what is your research philosophical approach? If you don't know what research philosophy is, go and read about it. Things that you could consider: is it an interpretive study? Is it positivist? Is it critical realism? Is it pragmatist? What are those terms, and why would you choose to actually use one of them? And what strategy? How are you going to collect your data? Are you going to do a case study? Are you going to do an ethnographic study? Are you going to do action research in your study? What do you propose? How will you collect the data? Will it be a quantitative, fully quantitative, Will it be mixed methods? Will it be fully qualitative? And so on and so forth. So dabble a little bit into those aspects in your proposal, just to showcase you've really done some thinking around this. Don't just take this application process for granted. There are hundreds of applicants that your coordinator will have to go through, your university has to go through. So what can you do to stand out? Learn and read about some of these concepts. Have a discussion with fellow researchers or potential supervisors around these particular aspects on theory, your background to the research, how data can be collected to understand your research phenomenon. And then finally, summarize. Now, there are different guidelines I've spoken to here, and some may assume that this requires you to write a 10-page document. No. There is skill that is demonstrated, especially critical thinking skill that is demonstrated when you can attempt to be as succinct as possible in your proposal. So learn to summarize your application research proposal to identify those key guidelines, to identify how to apply those key guidelines around your background to your research, your topic, your questions, your data collection, your theory, and summarize that in 2 to 3 pages that gives someone or a supervisor an understanding of what potential you have, what you plan to actually contribute in your study, and how you work best in actually understanding the concepts around that field. So make sure you work on that. It takes time and dedication. It is not a one-stop process. So take time to read and understand the field. If this research degree is important and you really want to work in a particular area with a particular supervisor at a particular university, you will make the time to invest in that. All right, so that is my brief video on developing your application research proposal. So let's connect. If you like, subscribe to my channel, and I will continue to provide some summary videos on a variety of research topics, talking about my experience as a researcher, but also some of these guidelines I share with students in general and my students. You can follow me on nurtureideate.net if you want additional support, and also my Twitter account, Caroline Kene, on different topics I talk about in relation to civic tech, digital development, information systems, and just being